Hello everybody on the beautiful website of YouTube, this is your Uncle Gurga coming in here, and today we're taking a look and reviewing a 50s black and white classic from Japan, directed by the samurai master Akira Kurosawa. The movie is Rashomon. In Rashomon, we follow 4 different people telling 4 different stories or point of views of a heinous murder that happened in the woods. And the question is anybody telling the truth, really? Now this is a movie that has been on my watch list, of course, because I'm a big fan of film. I am a film lover to the core of my heart, so of course I knew about Kurosawa, but this is the first movie I've seen from him, okay? I bought the Kurosawa box on Blu-ray for around $30 with his 6 most famous samurai films, so I'm going to watch them and probably put up review on most of them on my channel, because I'm finally going to discover his classic filmography. So I started out with the first one, Rashomon. Now this is a movie that is intriguing very much. It's a great concept. I mean, it's a concept that was very fresh back then, and even today it is a concept that maybe it's not as original if it would have been remade today, but it's such an intriguing concept, because having this movie being about this murder that happened and getting the story told from different perspectives, getting different points of views and people with different bias, because that's very much what this movie is about. And the central theme of this movie is truth. And is there any truth, really? Or could there be any truth to anything? So I would say that the movie starts out, the first stories we get, the first points of views are a little so and so. I don't really know why. I felt like they were a little over dramatic, a little melodramatic in the acting department, which kind of stays through the whole movie, but I'm wondering if that's more of the style they were going for, that Kurosawa wanted, because when it started out I was very on the side of things, what I thought about the acting, but towards the ending it turns out that I kind of were more intrigued with the characters, and I did actually really like the acting, so it kind of shifted through the halfway point of the movies. And I will say the last points of views has a more interesting story per se than the first 2 stories and point of views, in my opinion. However, the stories are maybe not made to be entertaining or intriguing per se. It's very much the central theme of the movie, and also the last shot, the ending, that gives this movie its meaning, because the absolute ending and the last dialogue and the last shot is perfect, in my opinion. It ends the movie on a high note, with ending on a low note, you can say. It ends very somber, and it ends with a very open ending. I mean, without spoiling anything, you don't really get a true answer. Okay, you get different stories, you get different point of views to this crime from all the different persons. The girl who was married to the man that was murdered. You get the story told from the murderer himself, the supposed murderer. You get the stories told from a man who witnessed the murder, and you get the stories told from the murdered one, actually the one who was killed via a spiritual way. The cinematography is beautiful. It is fantastic. I mean, this fact that some of these shots are so impressive still today, when this movie was released in 1950, that shows how well made and well thought throughout Akira Kurosawa had this movie. He really knew how he wanted it, wanted his frames and what he wanted to be framed and not, and it's just a beautiful movie all around, especially in watching it in Blu-ray and HD quality. And like I said, the best thing about this movie is the questions it gives you, because it really ends with this very open ending, giving you the question. And I love open endings, so like I said, the best thing for me was the ending. Like the last 5 minutes of this movie was probably the thing I liked the most, because like I said, the first 2 points of views and stories of this movie, like the first 30-40 minutes even, I would say, didn't really stick to me that well. So I think this is a movie that I will definitely enjoy more on my rewatch, and kind of maybe grasp it in more. But I feel like I'm not going to rewatch it just right now, because I have a lot of other stuff to do. But yeah, the questions it answers its audience It's very interesting questions, and it's very thought-provoking and deep questions that you can go on and on about, like, is there any truth when talking about crime, for example? Doesn't everybody have a sort of bias? If everyone has a sort of bias, could there be any truth to something? Like I said, there are some acting that is a little on the edge of overacting. It gets a little too far at times, I believe. And also think that's the score. Overall it's a really good soundtrack. It's a very moody soundtrack. However, it's a little overused sometimes, okay? And it's kind of sometimes an orchestral music score, like a little bombastic and epic, and I don't think it fits in some scenes. Like, they use it in some scenes where I was like, this scene doesn't need a soundtrack. However, therefore I also need to give shout out to a fighting scene in one, I believe it's the last point of view or story told, that is without any music, and that scene was really great. I thought it was quite intense, just having the raw footage with the sound effects and not having any music played in the background. I thought it worked perfectly for it. But in the end, I think Rashomon was a very intriguing movie that got better and better the longer into it I got, and like I said, ended on a very high note with having a very open ending, not giving you a clear answer, but giving you maybe more questions than you had when the movie first started. So here are my final words on Rashomon. A smart and fascinating concept brought to life with some over and melodramatic performances and score. However, it leaves you puzzled and thinking over what actually is and what's not, and if truth really exists at all. In the end, I'm gonna score Rashomon a strong 8 out of 10, I must say. This is how thought-provoking this movie is. The first time, or when I finally turned it off and, popped the Blu-ray out of the box, I was like, this is a 7 out of 10 for me on my rating scale. But the more I think about it, the higher the rating gets, and the more I actually like the movie. Which is what I mean with that a rewatch for this movie would probably make me love it. Maybe even. I would definitely enjoy it more, I can say that much. But I am at the same time so intrigued to watch the other Kurosawa films, Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, Hidden Fortress and all those movies, so I feel like I kind of have to move on for now, but I'm definitely gonna rewatch this movie, and because the concept alone is intriguing very much, and it gives you a lot of philosophical and open-ended questions that I just love to get into my head. Overall, it's a great movie, and I definitely see why it's a classic. You should definitely watch it if you at least can handle older movies and black and white movies. And yeah, foreign movies, I guess, because yeah, it's a Japanese movie. Sorry if you can't handle subtitles, you're missing out on some really good stuff, just like this movie. If you enjoyed my review of Rashomon, don't forget to leave a nice comment and a thumbs up, and if you didn't enjoy it, well then I guess you can leave a thumbs down and a mean troll comment or something. Subscribe to my channel if you want more of my content, and if you enjoy my content. I have been your Uncle Gurga, thank you for watching, bye bye.